This episode of the Turf District podcast is brought to you by Taproot Edmonton, which is on a mission to inform you about our city. Taproot publishes weekly roundups on a variety of topics, including food, tech, health innovation, arts, regional news, and business. Taproot gathers up the headlines and happenings on these files and delivers them right to your inbox. You can get one or two for free. If you want more, become a Taproot member. Then you can get as many as you want, plus other perks for just $10 a month or $100 a year. Get informed at taprootedmonton.ca. Enjoy the show.
Hey, fellas, we ain't gonna ever back down from nobody. I don't care who it is. This is a brotherhood. And if we stand strong together, we can't be denied. If one of us goes down, we have another, and another, and another that's ready to fight. So let's hit this field and bang them, bang them, bang them. Somebody, light me up.
It's time to huddle up. It's the Turf District podcast. Welcome back to the Turf District, where we huddle up to talk all things Edmonton Elks and the CFL. And we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported, and we are also a part of the Canadian Football Podcast Network. I'm Andrew, and we have a very fun show for you this evening. Thank you for tuning in and for joining us. And of course, if you're listening to the audio version, thank you for downloading, and make sure that you're sharing out all of the links so that people can join in the huddle with the rest of us. Like I said, we have a very fun show for you this evening, but let's bring in the usual gang first, starting with the one way out west, Super Fan Mike.
Way out west.
There it is. Yeah, those are west antlers right there.
That's right there. That's right.
How you doing,
Jantlers
Superfan?
West. Good. Had a great weekend. Got to connect with a friend of mine who I've actually been talking to for about 15 years and finally got to meet face to face for the first time.
Nice.
Whoa. So, yeah, he's another collector like me, also huge into the history side of things, especially the green and gold era. So, yeah, we just sort of hung around at his place. He has more green and gold stuff than I do, and it is absolutely packed floor to ceiling, like right to the rafters. So, yeah, it was a pretty good time. So I felt a little more normal because there's people that have more stuff than me. So that was good.
You found a bigger hoard than yours?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
It was awesome.
You know, he's been, it's Gary, right, that you spent some time with. He was posting there after our last show some of those figures and stuff that he has done.
Right.
And wow, man, I was just blown away. Like, just some very cool stuff. And he is one of now the 4 people that I know that have an original locker.
Yeah, I think there might be a few more. Obviously, Dwayne has a locker, so there's one.
That would be 5 for me. Okay,
yeah,
exactly.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, so quite a few out there. But, yeah, you have one. I have one. Hey, come on, Twish. Got to get in there. Let's get you a locker.
That's right. Need a locker in the background. Speaking
right.
of, let's bring in Commissioner Kayla. How's Commissioner?
Hi. Okay, first off, I feel like I don't believe you, Mike. And secondly, I feel like we should insert Joe's famous gif of I don't believe you. I feel like immediately that came to mind.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Yes, I need a locker, and I think we all know which locker I need. So if you can help get me that'd be awesome.
One that has from a certain maybe Fred Stamps, maybe that one? Is that the one that you would like? Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, that'd be tough.
Maybe. Yeah,
they came out in 2009, so.
Yeah, so there's no Fred Stamps. Yeah.
Oh, well, you just fake it. I wouldn't have known. I would not have known any different.
I like the new do, Kayla.
Oh, thanks. It's very liberating. Thank you very much.
Very good, sir.
A lot got cut off. It's definitely like way shorter than I asked, but it's hair. It grows. Well,
gross.
some of us, it grows.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. All right, you've heard him laughing in the background, joining in already. Let's bring in our guest. Very excited to have one of the best receivers to ever play the game with us tonight. Still holds the record for the most receptions in a season, and he is currently the president of the Edmonton Elks Alumni. Welcome to the Turf District, number 87, Mookie Mitchell.
How you doing? Glad to be here.
Oh, this is awesome, man! I'm so glad that we finally got you on the show to chat. And you've been one of the ones that we've talked about many years of wanting to talk because you know every level of this team, and we're gonna get into that. Tell us a little bit what you're up to these days, because we're used to seeing you out and about on the field.
Yeah, so since 2013, I've been working here on the south side. I'm a team leader. I work with 16 Indigenous youths, and I've been pretty much like the boys' guardians. They're the voice for them. I just recently came from up north, just left high level. Last week, I took a couple of the boys, like 9 of the boys, up to high level for a winter camp, where their elders and like their supervisors, caseworkers, we was all out at this city that was called Rainbow Lake. Okay. And there the boys learned the boys and myself, we learned how to ice fish. We learned how to ice fish, and we was trapping, doing a little, setting the traps for wildlife. So, nice. I mean, it was a big experience for me. So I've been doing this work with the Indigenous youth for the last 8 years, and it's been a blessing to me because these kids, they keep me young. And the last on the football side of it, the last 3 years I was just a member on our board, of the alumni board. And after our most recent president stepped down, Bob Clark, he threw my name in the hat for president, and I'm like, what, me? And so all the guys, all the other alumni and the current board members, they thought I would have been the perfect candidate for the job. So the guys voted me in. So I'm going, this year is like my second term as the president. And so I've just been blessed and lucky to be in this position.
Oh man, that's so amazing on so
Mm-hmm.
many levels. I love hearing the stories about you working with the kids and stuff too, because
Mm-hmm.
that's I know in the few times that I've met you, like it's an inspiring moment. We have a great conversation, and
Mm-hmm.
it's fun to chat with you, and you working with kids just seems like the perfect fit for me. I think that's awesome. Oh my God, my dog will not leave my arm alone. Okay, so. I know you'll see him in a bit, Kayla. Now, I did want to ask you though. I mean, everyone recently, I guess, on the Elks world saw you when there was the helmet reveal, and we got to see your face when you first saw it, and kind of give that alumni side of things. So. Tell us what your actual first reaction to the new helmet was, and what it means to the alumni to have the EE back on the helmet.
I mean, it meant the world to those guys, and I was glad and blessed that I got the opportunity. I got the call from Victor and the Elks administration to come in and be part of this new history. Right. So when I turned the corner in the locker room and I saw it, I was just so ecstatic about it, because like I mentioned during the interview, I got so many calls over the last year about just from players or just from like fans in general, when they would just see me in public, like they just didn't like that new look, that new logo. And the EE has always been that, it was just that tradition. Even the years when I was, playing for Toronto, and we would always come here to play Edmonton. It was always, you would just always see it on the Jumbotron, like the Warren Moons, the Dan Kepleys, just the history, the richness with this fan, it was just like that bloodline, that brotherhood, and that just the seeing that double E, it was just so powerful. Even when I was wearing the uniform the 3 years, like you just didn't want to disappoint the fans or those who paved the way for guys like myself.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
we felt the same way.
All of us have the chills just just seeing that video was amazing.
Yeah.
We love when we have alumni on or current players to sort of go back at the beginning and sort of learn like who introduced you to football and when did you become a fan?
Well, it started when I was like 9-10 years old. My oldest brother, he would just take me and to the field in Miami in the inner city, and I would be either 9-10 years old playing against 18-19-year-olds, and I meant the game. It was really physical. Like if you ran towards the fence, you got knocked into the fence, And so this is what it was like just playing at the park. So when I started playing organized football in high school, the only thing I had to get adjusted or accustomed to was just putting on that uniform. I used to always go watch and support friends that played Little League football. But I guess it's my mom raising like 11 of us. Like it was just the funds just wasn't there, So I just always just loved and just had that passion for wanting to play football and just wanting to be around it.
That's amazing. Did you have a favorite player growing up?
Yeah, my favorite player growing up was Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
Jerry Rice.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, I would number 80 in high school because of Jerry Rice.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Can't argue with that. But you were on the Saints, so just pause for a sec for me because that's just they're my NFL team, so that's why. Yeah. Wow. And then the Scottish Claymores before you joined the Argos in '97. What was the first impression of the CFL game?
It was at first when I first got here. I had just got released from Atlanta in '96 because after my stint with New Orleans, I went to training camp with the Falcons, and after that release, I just wanted to play football. I just remember calling my agent and telling my agent like, "Hey, I don't care if it's arena, I don't care if it's CFL." So he was shocked to hear that I wanted to play in the CFL because at the time my agent, he knew Eric Tillman. I guess they had a relationship, so he knew Eric Tillman. I knew nothing about the game. I watched a couple of games growing up in Miami, the CFL game, and just thought it was like kind of exciting. And so when I went to camp with the Argos in '97, I had what is the game? DK Smith. If you guys can remember DK Smith.
Yep.
DK Smith would follow me through all our drills. He stayed right behind me. If it was 1-on-1, if it was 7-on-7, he was teaching me how the waggle, and he was teaching me how to hit the line full speed. And if he was working with somebody else, pinball stayed like right behind me. And then all during training camp, Coach Jenkins, he had me behind Paul Mazzotti. So this was like before I knew the game. I'm looking at like, hey, who's this little slow little white dude? Like, I know I'm gonna get the team, because I'm like, well, okay. So wherever Coach Matthews was putting me, but he just kept me outside. Him and Coach Jenkins, they kept me at like X and they kept me at the Z. And so during one of the lunch periods, Coach Jenkins came up to me and he said, "I want you to go to the slot position." And so when I went into the slot position, so I ran back to the locker room, opened up the playbook, and just trying to just cram in as many other plays as I could. And so when I started to get a feel for the waggle and, with my ability, I just remember Pinball and Robert Drummond. They say, "Man, we will be shocked if you're not Rookie of the Year." Because they say this league, they don't know nothing about you. We just won it in '96. You're a huge addition. And I, after the first game, me and Flutie, we didn't have our chemistry. Flutie didn't know me. So if you knew Doug Flutie, if he don't know you, he's not throwing you the ball. So Pinball got all the balls and Mazzotti, Drummond. And so I remember after the game, the next day after we finished watching film, Coach Matthews, God bless the dead, he brought me into his office. And I'm like, oh my God, this man finna cut me. And I just got cut. So I was like, oh man. And so he was like, he told one of the secretaries at the time to go get Flutie out the locker room. And so I'm like, oh my God, what done happened? And so he sat me and Flutie down to watch the game against Hamilton. And I just kept popping open, but Flutie didn't know me. And Flutie promised me something that day in Coach Matthews' office. He'd say, "I would never miss you again." He said, "I would never miss you again." And from then on, it was Grey Cup Rookie of the Year. And it was just, I tell people still today, if Doug Flutie was to suit up today, I'll suit up right with him. That was the easiest year of my playing career because he just made it so easy. And just growing up in Miami, watching him like his Boston College days and then being in the same locker room, the same practice, I saw the magic with this guy. He just played sandlot football. If teams were starting to get the momentum, he moved us around and he found that mismatch. So if he lined me up in the backfield, if he lined pinball up, he made the game so easy. He made it so easy. And as a player with this wide open field, with just what the CFL always tell receivers or family friends in the US, like the CFL is just way more exciting. It's way more, and it's a receiver's dream.
Wow. Like I can't imagine Doug Flutie saying, "I will never miss you again," and be like,
he said that. Yeah, he promised me that. And it was so yeah, and he did. And so the thing that was so funny is just before our second game in when we was going to play Montreal, my oldest brother got shot. And so Coach Matthews was like, "You're doing really well in training camp, but I haven't seen you make plays in the game." And so I remember I said, "Coach, just fly me home and I'll meet you guys in Montreal." And so I remember when I arrived at the Dome in Montreal, the team was already out there warming up. I just jumped out of a cab and I ran into the locker room, got dressed right quick, didn't even have time to stretch. And 4 touchdowns later, I made the team. And so when I'm telling you, Doug Flutie say he will not miss me. The thing that was just so amazing to me with Doug, me and Doug was like the same height, but Doug Flutie would give me landmarks. He would tell me, like, I'm going to throw the ball to you 30 yards out down the field, 2 yards outside the hash. He said, I'm going to look off the safety. And he said, all you do, you just make that halfback miss and you will score. And just that's yeah. And when I would just look back, I couldn't see Doug, but I would just see the ball coming.
Wow.
And yeah, he was that magical. Like when he say he was going to do it, yeah, he just did it. He did it. He made the magic happen.
That is you got to play with some great quarterbacks. We're going to talk about another one in a little bit, but but you talked about it. I mean, you came in Rookie of the Year that year. Mm-hmm. You win the Grey Cup at Commonwealth, as it turns out. Who knew that was going to be such a great place for you? I hoped. Anyway, what? Other than that moment, because that's got to be one of your biggest memories, is Doug saying, "I'm never going to miss you again." But what was your biggest memory of that Grey Cup game, being that it was your first Grey Cup ever? Yeah,
I mean, it's that Grey Cup, like all Grey Cups, you love them and you cherish them. And when I went last week to East Glen High School and I took both of my rings, and so they seeing the difference in the size, because the 05 Grey Cup ring is like 10 times the size of the 97 ring. And I tell people all the time that the 97 ring will always be really special to me because that was my first championship. I remember our team was like a good arrogance, but if you knew Coach Matthews, he was like that player coach that he made your head as big as the stadium. He felt he always had the best players on the field. There's no way we could lose. And he just put that kind of confidence. He put that kind of confidence in you. So I just remember throughout that 97 Grey Cup when our defense was number one in the CFL, and they ended up giving up Saskatchewan that opening field goal, and they said we ain't giving them no more points. And they was like, you guys go down and you score, and we're gonna go ahead and just win this game. We might as well just size up our rings. And I just remember throughout the game, because the guys from the 96 team had already won a championship. So I just remember me and a handful of the rookies that was on that 97 team, like, we was begging God, like, don't let this clock stop. We wanted it to be like a soccer match because we wanted that moment. And then I just remember like that moment when, you could just, at some point in the game, you feel as a player, like we got them. Like it's only like a minute left in the game. We're up by like 20. It's just, and then the confetti and started coming down. I didn't even run up there with the Grey Cup. I remember just running on that field like I was a 2-year-old because it's like, I don't want me a championship. I'm like, I'm good. I am good.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now they did say they did win in the 96 one, but they really didn't. It was just it was a fumble. Anyway, carry on, Mike. I
don't
knew
know
you
what
were
you're
going to say
talking
it
about.
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Andrew was talking about, of course, you did set the record for 160 receptions in a year.
Mhm.
Your second year, became the third person ever, and still only top 3 guy to have 2,000 yards receiving in a season. Just amazing stuff. But of course, we are an Elks podcast, so we're really excited. Fast forwarding a couple of years to 2004 when you joined the team, and a team that was already stacked on receiver with Ed Hervey, Terry Vaughn, Jason Tucker, plus you, and then you had Mike Pringle at running back, Jason Moss getting 5,000 yards that season. What were the first few days, the first few months even like in that 2004 season?
Well, I mean, I was shocked when I got the phone call. Like a lot of people, well, just like the guys that was on that team, they knew the story behind that because I just got released from Toronto, and like I say, Paul Jones, who was our GM in Toronto, now he's here in Edmonton, and so I remembered Hugh Campbell called me. And Hugh Campbell, you know, if you talk to Hugh Campbell, you know he got that really slow voice. Hey, Mookie, Hugh Campbell. And so now I'm pissed because I used to be the big prankster on the team. Like all the teams I was on, I was all the way that guy that just ran pranks on players and coaches. So, you know, it's like 2 weeks. No, it probably wasn't even 2 weeks before training camp. And I'm sitting at home, you know, you waiting on that phone call for somebody to call you. And then it's Hugh Campbell, but I've always seen Hugh when we came here in Toronto to play, but I never spoke to him. So I didn't know the tone of his voice. And so when he called and he introduced himself, I was like, okay, yeah, if this Hugh Campbell, then let me speak to Paul Jones. And I hung the phone up in Hugh Campbell's face. Boom. I said, man, you need to quit playing because, you know, I'm trying to get signed somewhere. And so I say, if this is Hugh Campbell, because I know Paul Jones. I said, you get Paul Jones to call me back. And so not even a minute later, Paul Jones called me. And he like, Mookie, because he was right in the office with you. He's like, my God, you hung up on Hugh Campbell. And I'm like, I said, man, is that Hugh Campbell? So I'm like, oh, man, this man is not going to sign me. And so he was like, hey, Mook, even though you hung up in my face, you're a pretty good player, and I want you here at the Green and Gold. And so I just remember coming in. That was the first thing I did when I got to the facility. I went up to Hugh and I apologized. And me and him still have that laugh about that to this day. Because guys, coaches, they couldn't believe, like, man, you hung up on Hugh Campbell. I'm like, man, I didn't know who he was. You know? And so I was like, oh my God. And so then all throughout training camp, that just like you said, Andrew, that's what everybody was saying. Well, how are you guys going to get the ball, right? Because you guys are stacked at receiver. But I just remember, you know, Ed Hervey, Jason Tucker, and Terry Vaughn. Those guys was just like ecstatic because they couldn't believe it. They like, whoa, we got Mookie here with us. So we were like saying like, let's just take over. Let's take over this league. And whoever was the hot player that week, like it was never no animosity. If it was his week, if it was my week, we all just supported each other. We just wanted to win.
That's
Oh
amazing.
man! Well, and you got to watch that corner route for Jason Tucker over and over again. It's not hard to be upset when he's on your team. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was gonna just say like our defense, they really appreciated that because they was like, you know what, if we got to deal with these dudes here, we got to deal with these 4 every day and every week. Like the game is going to be easy for us, right?
Yeah.
And so, which you know, it is kind of benefit. Like, and that's one of the things like that when we talked about it earlier about just that double E. Like, how was Edmonton able to pull that off? Because you only get like dynasty type players like that like once every 10 years, you know, and that just doesn't happen. You may have 1 or 2 receivers, but to have 4 all-stars on one team, that's incredible.
That's
agreed.
Yeah. Oof. I wish I had like watched CFL back then, man. I feel I missed out on so much.
You did.
Just before my time. But so jump forward to 2015. Wow. Wrong decade. 2005, one of the greatest Grey Cups, obviously going into double overtime, the clutch catch on third down to, give you guys that boost to, well, we all know what happened in 2005, but tell us, what do you remember most about that game?
Well, the most about that game, I spoke on it. I sent Dave Jameson, because we're on our alumni website. We're trying to get that up and going. So one of the questions that he had for me, and like the guys that he asked the question, was like, what was one of your most memorable moments from wearing like the double E? And if you guys can remember that 05 season, we went down to Calgary, the last game of the season, and we bombed that game. So whoever won that game, you would have had to go to the other stadium that following week. And so I just remember we was feeling bad because we felt we should have won that game. We should have won the game. And so we come back, and then we started to get prepared. And so I put on my answer to that, what the most memorable, because that 05 season, all the younger guys and the rookies, after we was in a locker room when we returned, they was all trying to design plays for me and Tucker. Like, they was offensive coordinators. Like, we're going to do this here to win the game. And so, I mean, it was just fun to see like all the guys on both sides of the ball that was just that, just that involved or that passionate about wanting to go back to Calgary and win it. And I remember when we won the game, we went to go play BC, which was going to be tough. We knew like BC is always good in their place. And I just remember, if you guys can remember, one of our defensive linemen, Chuck Alston, I promised him, I said, man, we're going to beat these people. We're going to beat them, and we're going to come back here and we're going to make them clean out their lockers. And I still have the picture where Chuck was on his knees after the Western final. And I went behind him and I hugged him because he was in tears. He said, Mook, you called it. I said, man, I told you. And I said, we're going to beat Montreal. I say it's going to be a dogfight, but we're going to win it, and you're going to get your first Grey Cup. And everything else, like that game was just so magical, and it was just so memorable, right? And one of the funniest things that is about that game, when everybody talk about like that 3rd and 4, I didn't even know what down it was because I was that involved. Like, I just remember when I broke the huddle, I was looking down, and when I looked up, I didn't see no defender for Montreal in front of me. And so I'm trying to give Ricky the eye to see if he see what I see. And so the guy, I guess Montreal was trying to disguise it. They was trying to cover me from that position with a safety, but the safety was so high and inside, and not knowing that my route was the corner route. And so when I took off to the corner, Crutchfield, remember Daryl Crutchfield, who played with us, but he was in Montreal. His job, I found out after speaking with Coach Matthews after the game, he was supposed to go take that throw away. But if you guys can remember, Tucker was to my inside and Ed was farther out. And both of those guys ran just a 5-yard hit. So it kind of put him in a bind. And so Ricky rolled out, and Ricky said he just saw me flying to the corner and he just threw it. And I tell people today, I say I would have dropped any ball, but I wasn't dropping that one. I held on to that ball. If you guys go back, you see I never squeezed the ball so tight ever in my life. And so I was like, no, man. And so, I've got a lot of praises from like players that was on that team, and I was like, hey, man, I was just doing my job. I was just so happy to be part of like history again. And just to see the emotions on the guys' faces, that was their first time getting a Grey Cup ring, because it took me back to when I won my first one. Right. So.
Absolutely.
Oh, man, that's amazing. Yeah.
I got goosebumps and like chills, and you just like, because in my head, it's like all in slow motion as like, you're talking about the play. And I watched it a couple of times today, and just hearing like your version of it and what you were viewing and how you saw it, it's just like, ooh, it's like a movie playing out. It's so cool.
Yeah. And it did that play even went back to our game against Calgary in the Western Semi, because throughout that game, me and Ricky could never hook up on that corner route. And so if I went high, he threw it low. If I went low, he went high. And so all the week of the Grey Cup, I had just told Ricky, I said, Ricky, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stay high. And if I stay high, I'll just adjust to you, just what I'm supposed to do anyway. So you just throw to what you see. And so when the Grey Cup was here in 2010, because I never asked Ricky until then, we was up at our alumni event. And I asked Ricky Ray in 2010 at the show, I said, Ricky, what made you throw that ball? And because I say Ed and Tuck was wide open to the outside. It was an easy pitch and catch. It was just 3rd and 4. They would have just got the first down if you would have flicked it. He was like, you were just so wide open. I just threw it. He just said, he said, I saw it. He said, I saw what you saw. Like, it wasn't nobody in front of you. So he was like, I was going to win. We came there to win.
Wow. Magic exists.
Yeah. So I told the kids last week at East Glen, I said, if I would have dropped that ball, I'd have had a lot of angry Edmonton fans still to this day. Pissed off. Pissed off. It would have been a lot of pissed off fans.
We'd be calling you Daryl instead of Mookie. Yeah. Yeah. No, not Mookie anymore. No. Yeah. That's amazing. And I can imagine in your mind though, like Kayla said, it was probably running through like slow motion. Like, yeah. Okay, I better.
Yeah, because if you guys can remember, Ricky, everything with Ricky was such a touch. So when I broke to the corner, I'm like, come on. I'm just like, I wanted to just like snatch the ball out the air with like a string or something, because Ricky just always just had that perfect throw. So I was like, oh man, I was just praying for that ball to get there because I could feel the DB starting to gain ground because Ricky had done put so much air on it, and it ended up being one of the best throws in the Grey Cup that I've seen. So,
wow, man, that's amazing. Yeah. Now we'll jump ahead a wee bit. You finished your career in 2008, and then in 2015. You get the call to be inducted into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. What was that celebration like for you, and do you have a favorite memory from that weekend?
Yeah, I was numb. Once again, I thought it was a prank again.
This Hugh Campbell calling me? Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah. And so when the commissioner called, I was at an appointment with like one of the kids that I work with, and he was inside speaking with his therapist. So I'm just sitting outside in a company van, and the commissioner called, and I knew his voice, and he was like, when he was saying like, well, Mookie, just want to congratulate you. We selected you to get inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I just remember going numb. Like if you guys could just visualize like when you're watching a movie and somebody jump into like deep water and it goes, whoop, it just like that silence. I remember just being numb. Like he was talking and I didn't say nothing. And I remember when he hung up the phone and I thanked him for the phone call. I remember like I hesitated and I waited for like 2 or 3 minutes. Like, was this really the real phone call or was this another damn prank? So I'm like, would the commissioner of the CFL prank me? And so I had to. And so with the confidentiality, I couldn't. He said I could tell my wife, but you couldn't tell like your kids. You couldn't tell family members. So I know you guys could just imagine how tough that was because that type of news, you want to spread that with everybody, any and everybody that you know. And so it was just really like just hard to not like me and her had to just keep that like all bottled in that I was getting like inducted into the hall. And so I was like, oh shoot, man, it was just a great accomplishment. Just once we got to the ceremony and I was talking to the former director. And when I found out with the rich history of the CFL, it's only just a little over 200 of us inducted into the hall with all the great names that have came and played in this league. It is truly a blessing to be amongst those men, right? Because there's still like some legends that's still around here. There's guys that was on this 5-in-a-row team that's not in that hall. So to get a call like that, I like I said, I'm just blessed and lucky.
Wow,
that's chills for sure.
Yeah.
So now, sort of fast forwarding to the present, you've taken on the role of president of the EE Alumni Association. We had Victor Cue on last episode, and he talked about the connection to the the team being different for the alumni as opposed to being a fan. So what do you see as the role for the alumni, both with the team and with the fans?
Well, before the announcement was, before Victor was appointed the position in our meeting, we all got on board and said, whoever's the new president, the new head coach, we're going to support him, because we kind of lost that connection with the team over the years. It was kind of that separated, and it was kind of divided, and it was really hurtful, right? Because my years of playing here, the alumni and the team was so connected. It was like a hand in a glove. And when Victor was appointed the president, I went and met with him, me and my other vice presidents, and we promised him that whatever you need from us, we're on board. We're on board. Whenever you or the team want the support, if you need our help, whatever type of way that you need our help, I'm going to be on. I say, even if I have to do it myself, and some of the alumni can't make it, I want to get it back on board. I want to get this city, get this team back to where it used to be.
Oh, love it. But we want more. we're all about everybody from this team. Yeah.
100%. So do you have things on the horizon with the alumni that we can look forward to?
We're trying to get some of our programs back that we used to do. And Victor has a lot of things in store too that he wants the alumni to be a part of. We got the team also, they have the little park and ride where they want former players for us to get on the bus and take the ride to Commonwealth. And I told him I'm definitely on board with that. I am definitely on board with that. So you just get to mingle with fans from one site, from wherever the ETS is going to leave from, all the way to the stadium. And so some of the alumni wouldn't be able to make it, but I told Dave Jameson, I've told the Elks personnel, I said I'm going to try to get as many former players connected and involved with this. Some of them have already given me the okay that they're going to do it. Victor also have little golf tournaments. We have our own, but we have some of the team have emailed me about just presenting it to guys in our next meeting. Victor also have where he's going to try to bring out CEOs and use former alumni, like how you do a combine. So we'll be timing CEOs around Edmonton, big time CEOs in like the 40-yard dash. So I love it. I mean,
you got a sundial?
He got. So Victor has a lot of ideas, and he has a lot of visions about just where he want to see this team and just get it back to the way it used to be, where it's even the connection within the fans, right? So.
Oh man, that's amazing. Obviously, with the course correction now, like the outlook for the team has to be much better from the alumni, I would have to think.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you're making me want to take ETS before the game, just because you said that might be a possibility. But we're going to be at the tailgate, so now I'd like to ask if you're going to have some alumni come down to the tailgate and hang out and get some stuff, because that'd be amazing.
Yeah, we had so many. First, what Victor wanted it for the whole season. But, with some of the alumni, you got some of these guys like, just the old grumpy old men. So you just like, come on, man. It's just a ride. It's just a ride from one destination right to the stadium, and then you're through, right? And so with the tailgate and all of that. And so we're even trying to incorporate it where we could, when people are getting off the train, we'll bring alumni over to the train to take pictures, sign autographs with them. We got so many things, so many ideas of what we want to just do for the fans, like before and on game days.
Oh, that's amazing. And I mean, as fans, we just want to sit on a bus and hear about how you hung up on Hugh Campbell. That's what we want to hear. I mean, like that's amazing. Can we get Hugh Campbell there to say, yes, this did happen? And we still find him. Yeah, exactly. Whenever I talk to him next, that's my first question. Did Mookie actually hang up on you? That's incredible. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. It's a good thing he won that cup for you a couple of years later. Yeah, that's right. Mike, let's go to some fan questions for Mookie here, because there's probably a couple in the chat.
Absolutely. So let's just skip through here. Chris Agar's got a great question. Do you have any thoughts on Farhan Lalji's belief that the hash marks are going to be narrowed like in the NFL?
I would rather it stay the same. They thinking about shortening it. like
Yeah.
the NFL. Oh no. Because with with the game right now, like I went and did with the girls, they had a girls football camp at Foot Field a couple of weeks ago. Team asked me to go and just participate in it, and some of the current players was there. And so one of my biggest pet peeves that I have right now, and I want to talk to a lot of the coordinators now. So I'm gonna call up my guys like Jay Moss and all you guys. Do you guys remember when back in the day when we used to hit the line full speed?
Yeah.
Like the receivers.
Yeah.
I was just telling one of the receivers there, I said, you know what, that's like an advantage for us. If you're a receiver that has that ability to run, you use that waggle as your advantage, right? If you make that DB miss, it's a touchdown. That's why the CFL was always so exciting. So when I'm seeing these guys doing like the trotting to the line and then,
Right.
I mean, they still getting the touchdowns, they still getting explosive plays, but it was just seconds. Like if that DB hesitated for 1 second, you was in trouble. It was either a big play or it was a touchdown. Now with this, the way it is now, it's like, to me, you might as well play NFL football because it's like most of the guys are almost stationary, like even the slot guys. You know, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to touch nothing with the CFL, not the rules, not the downs. Just keep everything the same.
Amen.
Keep it all the same.
Yeah, as you say that, I remember when the guys would be lining up like 10 and 12 yards deep off the line because by the time they hit the line, it's like you're right. If they make one wrong move, you're done.
It's a touchdown. Or the way we used to go from one side of the field to the other, and you would just see DBs get crossed up, they'll get confused, and you got a receiver just running down the field wide open because they didn't call switch, or they just, because of the motion and how fast all the slot receivers was moving, it just created a lot of chaos and confusion for defensive guys. So
awesome.
That's awesome. We've got a lot of questions here. I'll just get a couple. Chris Agar, I know you've told the story a lot before, but just for the rest of us here, where did the name Mookie come from?
College roommate.
Nice.
College roommate. Yes, I was at Texas Tech. I just got there, and me and my college roommate, we were sitting on the couch just watching basketball, and he was like, "Man, you remind me of a guy named Mookie." And I'm like, "What do you mean, man?" So when we would be on campus or we would be at practice or whatever, he just started calling me Mookie. And so everybody would look like, who are you talking about? The new guy, you know. And so it just stuck. And so everybody just always believed like Mookie was my, government name, like born name. And the crazy part about it, I'd rather be called Mookie than Daryl. Like only my wife called me Daryl. And it's like when I'm in trouble, like what?
With 11 kids,
sometimes I don't even look when she say Daryl. I don't even.
Cosmic Rhubarb, Leanne's asking, any chance the alumni have plans to come to surrounding towns to help promote the EE legacy?
Yes, that's part of our vision.
That is awesome.
Getting back, doing appearances, doing signings, whatever. So whatever, like I was saying, whatever the EE wants us to do, whatever Victor and them need any help or any suggestions, we're there.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, last one here. This is from Derek Mapstone. What is your personal most memorable catch?
That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
What I would say was it was one of my best ones. It even surprised me. It was when I returned from the NFL after the record breaking year. Mm-hmm. I came back and it was the Labor Day game against Hamilton. And Kerwin Bell. You guys remember that name?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
anybody want to spike a ball right about now, or no? No,
yeah, old Kerwin.
Yeah.
And so I had a post route, and when I beat the DB to the post, Kerwin threw it to my outside, and so when I just turned, I just threw my arm up, and the ball just stuck. And it, like I say, it surprised me that I got up like, oh yeah, I knew what I was doing. Like I said, yeah, it's nothing. I do this every day. This is nothing. Yeah. But I would say that was one of my most memorable, or just most acrobatic catches that I can remember.
Oh, one-handers will do that. That's we
Yeah.
like those. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, let's. Mike, do you want to go through your hoard item? Do you want to tell us
Sure.
about what's going on? I'll bring you on first, and then I can get to the pictures. You'd let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready anytime.
All right. So this is now our Hoard and Tell section. There's Mike. Yay. Okay, let's go to our pictures. Here we go, and they are
And
rolling.
yeah, so Mookie can't see these, but I'm going to throw it in here. So this is unusual in that it's an item I don't have currently. It is en route. And this is a 2004 game-worn Mookie Mitchell jersey. So this is the first you would have worn in the green and gold. So absolutely stellar item. As soon as it was offered to me in the deal, I said to Phil, yeah. He's like, do you want it? I'm like, yeah, no, I want it. We're going to make this happen. So absolutely one of the favorite items now in my collection. So I was thrilled to be able to get it this week, and at least I got some pictures so I could show it. So do you have any memories sort of pulling that on for the first time?
It was because like I said, all the years in Toronto, just coming here, like coming to play at Commonwealth just always reminded me, and most Americans of like playing in the US, just like the smell of that fresh grass, and then just hearing from like your friends that played for Edmonton at the time, and just how that field was just cherished. Like they couldn't practice on it like before the game. It was always well manicured, and it was just that pride. Like I say, just coming out and just putting on that jersey and knowing some of the men that have worn that jersey or came out of that locker room just felt like so special to me.
That's amazing. This one is already signed. Otherwise, I'd be asking you to sign this one already for me. But yeah, maybe we'll bring it down to a tailgate if you happen to pop by, and you can check it out again for the first time in a while.
That's awesome. Thank you, Superfan.
Yeah.
Perfect hoard selection for this evening.
Yes.
Mookie, let's get to a couple of rapid fire questions because we have some questions. We just want to just quickly get some answers from you from outside maybe of football. What's your favorite meal?
Chinese. Chinese food is my favorite.
Any specific kind of Chinese, or you just like it all?
No, just like it all.
Okay, so we need to have Chinese day at the tailgate one time.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. We can do that. What type of music you like to listen to?
All type, but mainly it's the rap and R&B.
Okay. Anything that's really hit your iPod as of late that you really like?
No, but my best I got a couple, but my best rapper of all time is Tupac Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's a good.
And my best, the best entertainer of all time was Michael Jackson.
Yeah. That was quite the halftime show way back when. Yeah, that was not Grey Cup, obviously, but yeah. Do you watch anything on Netflix? Do you like movies? What do you like to do on that side of things?
Well, I got into when it was out the Game of Thrones, and I like Vikings. Those, yeah. So like the kids that I work with, they was like, Mr. Terry, you got to get into it. And then I like crazy movies with like the dragons, right? Because you just always assumed you lived in that area with like a dragon flying over. So I loved and then like the Vikings movie just always reminded you of like football, right? Because it's a fight to the end. So I have fell in love with Vikings, and I also fell in love with the Game of Thrones.
Did you watch those and then go back to the kids and go, that's not appropriate for you? That's what I have 3 children. I understand how that works. Cookies or chips?
Oh, cookies. Chocolate chip.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yep, got to introduce.
But it has to be soft though. They got to be soft.
Oh yeah, that's
like I don't like hard cookies.
Okay.
No, I don't like hard cookies. So all like the soft Chip Ahoys and all. Oh, I love them. I'll eat a whole bag of them.
Give me the extra butter. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Mike already asked you what your favorite player was growing up. Jerry Rice. Did you have any pre-game rituals?
Yeah, I did. Before we would leave, I would when we're packing our bags, I would always have to put my pads inside. When Dwayne would pass out our pants, I had to put my thigh pads and knee pads in it the day before the game. And also, one of my the day of the game rituals is when you know how you see some guys that go out like an hour, 2 hours before the game and warm up. Every time I did that, I never had the game I wanted. I always like to go out when it's time for like pat and go, or when it's time for like my position to go out. Whenever I went out early with Jason or Ed and doing all the extra running, oh God, I just bombed the day. I hated it. I hated it. So yeah. So I'm usually the last receiver in, because usually all the other receivers will go out and get warm. I was one of those type of players that it didn't take me long to get warm. And I would just get so pissed with myself if I got caught into just going out early. Because I'm telling you, I stunk up the joint. Whenever I went out early, stunk it up.
I don't remember a lot of games with you stinking it up. It's probably just your own opinion, but that's fine. What do you do when you're not on the job? What do you like to do outside of work and football?
Yeah, when I'm not on the job, I like to just come home. I like it every day. I come home from work. I like to enjoy my little Crown Royal. Crown Royal is my choice drink.
Hey.
Then normally on the weekends, on like the little Fridays, me and the wifey will go out and eat. And then if she's in the mood, we'll end up hitting up like one of our favorite casinos here. But if not, I'll drop her off and then I'll just go enjoy my night at the little casino.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. The first time I met you actually was at the 2015 Grey Cup in we were at the Tweed Up, and I met you and your wife that first time, and boy, your wife has a lot of energy. She was such a nice lady. We had an amazing conversation, and I was, because we had just started the podcast, and I said, well, one day I want to get Mookie on, and she's, he's coming on. She said to me, I'm like, okay,
he's
great.
like super agent, man. Like,
I know.
Like, it'd be best to let me know some of these things. You just sign me up.
That's amazing. Now this question, and I asked this because this is what I saved this one, because again, you've been on every level with this team. You've been a player, you've been a scout, you've been a coach, you now part of the alumni, now the president of the alumni. What does the EE way mean to you?
Well, the EE it means pride. It means pride. It means tradition, brotherhood, fight to the end. Like the shirt that I have on now is our shirt from our 05, where all the guys, and this was if you can see it, this was our motto.
Nice.
Dig deep. So this is our 05 shirt. I say I would never get rid of that shirt, because this is the shirt that we made just before the playoffs. And so all the guys that was part of that, you understand when you say what does it mean? This is what it means. Like, no matter what you have to do, figure out a way to win this game. If you're not having the best game, do the little things to just help this team win, right? It's being unselfish, and it's just being that good team player on and off the field.
Oh, love it. I love it. I love asking alumni that question, because it means something similar but different to every guy. And I don't like, I know for the three of us, we always get goosebumps hearing some of these answers. So
and I know you guys probably heard of the saying that was here for years, like bone.
Yeah,
that was one that always stuck with me. That brother of nasty Eskimo. I'm like, that goes way back. That goes back, and that was passed on us. So, like I said, when I got here in 04, it was like Dan Kepley. Like, I used to always just pick his brains, right? Because Kepley, we would always sit next to each other, and I was just like, man, you just I could just sit with guys like that for like hours. Like, you won 5 in a row, man. Like, it's hard to win one. You guys won 5 in a row. Like players cherish, players live for like championships like that. So I was saying that if I ever got up there in politics or anything like that, I say I would always, one of the things that hurt me to my heart dearly is, when you're coming in from the highway and used to see that sign, City of Champions. Oh God, please put that back. Cause you had the hockey team that was winning. You had the football team that would never happen again. I tell my son, I tell the kids, like I say, I'm living to see any team that ever go on a run like that again. I say, but I don't think it would ever happen. But if I ever got close to the mayor, man, please put those signs back. Because that sign to me, that is just, it's bragging rights. Really, it is. Like when you got the opposing teams coming in, like Calgary's and the Winnipeg, no other franchise can say that. They can't. Yeah. Like that's why I was like, like that City of Champions, that's that pride. That's what we're talking about, what it means to wear like that green and gold.
Oh man, that's awesome. No argument from me. I love the fact that Coach Vic has said that Kayla knows all about the bone.
Yeah.
Forgot the saying bone. That is another horrible joke that I'm just going to let go for a second. On that wonderful note, this episode with Pod Power, our sponsors, are making it possible for us to amplify the voices of Albertans and Alberta podcasters. This episode, Edmonton Community Foundation is helping us give a Pod Power shout out to Overdue Fines. It's an Edmonton Public Library podcast. Bryce Crittenden and Carolyn Land host conversations about books, movies, music, pop culture, and other interesting news about Edmonton. It's a great way to learn more about what's happening at EPL and about how you can use your library card to access all of EPL's in-person and online services. To listen and find out more about Overdue Fines, head to epl.ca/podcast. Well, Mookie, we cannot thank you enough for spending this time with us. We've loved the stories, and we'll have to have you back another day to tell even more stories. But I gotta say, I think the alumni is in amazing hands with you, and we're very, very happy that you could come on and tell us some of what's going on now, and give us that hope of seeing you around to talk more of these stories, and have every person that now listens to this ask you, did you really hang up on you, Campbell? But tell everyone where they can kind of find you in the social media world, and where we might find you when game day comes around.
So I'm on Instagram at Mookie Mitch 87, and then on game days, it's pretty much wherever the team wants me. I'm normally in the alumni room, but now with all the tailgating, I'm gonna really make myself visible all around the stadium. So awesome. You'll see me all around the stadium on game days.
We'll let you know when it's Chinese Day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're gonna want to come. I just telling you might want to come here now. Yeah. Yep. Super fan. Where does everybody find you?
They can find me at 56 Parkies on Twitter, and then the Edmonton Football History. I'll probably best on Twitter again. It's at EDMHISTOREE.
Wonderful. Commissioner?
On Twitter at Duchess Lombardi.
Perfect. You can find me at Freepalicious, of course, and you can join in the huddle with us at the Turf District, and that's on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Our APN shout-out this week goes to the Three Kitchens podcast. I don't know if you guys have heard about this one. No. Three pals get together every week to share recipes, tips, and kitchen adventures. Find them and all the other great shows. Oh, look at Kayla's very excited. He's writing that down right now. All the other shows at albertapodcastnetwork.com. Okay. And of course, follow our good friends at Pay It Forward with Football, as they now have a new brand ambassador in Cassidy, and welcome aboard to her. And I'm excited to see what they are going to do as they get closer to the season. If you're on YouTube Live, stick around for in a couple of minutes. We will be back with Overtime. We'll talk a little bit more about what's going on with the team, and I know a couple of guys wanted to do some not draft talk, but combine talk. So we'll chat a little bit about that. So stick around for that. And of course, thank you once again to Mookie Mitchell for joining us. Like I said, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And so for Mookie, for Commissioner K, for Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely, I knew that was going to make you laugh, we will absolutely talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.